Hey guys and girls, my name is Alan and welcome to today's video. So I hope you're having a good Saturday so far. It is of course the weekend, which means another Uncharted 4 gameplay commentary. Now this video is going to be following on from obviously the previous gameplay commentary at Uncharted 4, talking about US trip. But as always, I will start with just talking about some other stuff before moving on to the recapping of said trip, which took place a long time ago, and this story probably will finish either today or next week, depends on how much I manage to cover. Probably actually next week I would say, but we'll see how it goes. Right, so you might have noticed a lack of videos going for my channel this week, this past week, and that's because I spent a lot of time streaming this week. A lot, like literally a lot of time. I can't even, like, it's just probably the most I've streamed ever, to be honest, and it's all been Fortnite. And one of the main reasons is Fortnite Season 8 did drop on Thursday, so I spent a lot of time streaming on Thursday night. Didn't actually stream as early as I wanted to, but I streamed a lot on Thursday night, and then some on Friday morning, and then I didn't stream all on Friday night because I was just tired, basically. So I didn't do any streaming whatsoever in the evening. I will be streaming later today because I actually have a rare Saturday off from work. I work in retail, which means I do work on weekends most of the time, but all the time. But this week, and then I think, is it the following week? I think I got another day off as well, so I might be streaming a little, well, I say a little bit earlier. I'm going to try and stream a little bit earlier. Whenever I normally say that, I normally stream about the same sort of time that I finish work anyway, so it's a bit silly, but I'm going to push for, instead of like streaming at like 10, 9, I might even try like 7, 8, maybe. So if you are followed on the channel, then obviously you get a notification. If you want, I'll try, if I remember, to tweet it out. You can follow me, links on the description, etc. Also in the description below as well for my social media stuff. But the easiest thing to do is just follow the channel if you fancy checking out live sometime. I had a really long first session on Season 8 of Fortnite, and the reason was because we just had a really good session. And I'm going to make a video either tomorrow or Monday talking about it and just showing off some of my early Season 8 gameplay footage. But yeah, it was a really good session, really fun, and that's why we stayed up for so long. And anyway, I'll talk about it in that video, so stay tuned for that. Earlier in the week, I think it was, I did post sort of a special Fortnite video, and it was a milestone that I hit in Fortnite, and it was my 1000th victory royale, which I didn't think I'd ever reach, partly because when I first started playing this game, it was so hard to win matches. But lo and behold, I managed to get it done, and as I said, it wasn't something I was striving to achieve, it was just something that just happened, and I thought it was nice to make a video and just talk about it and just sort of celebrate that win, and obviously show you me getting that win. And it was the first time that I ever successfully completed a solo squads match, and that's how I earned my 1000th victory. So if you fancy checking it out, I'll link it on the screen now. I'll also link it in the description below. That is a live comm, obviously footage is taken from a live Twitch stream. Right, so there's actually other stuff going on this weekend. So previously I mentioned that I'm still in the process of recording my walkthrough for Uncharted 3. I'm still doing that, however, I've had to pause it this week entirely because A, I've been streaming a crap ton of Fortnite, which means I don't have much time to record other stuff. But the other thing that's happening this weekend, is out right now, is the Division 2 open beta, and I think it's free for everyone across all platforms. I'm not too sure if you need like PlayStation Plus and stuff. I assume you do, but I'm not 100% on that. But it is an open beta for everyone to download. The beta, however, is like 45 gigs on PS4, so it took me a little bit of time, not a huge amount of time, but it took me a little bit of time. And I'll probably try and play some of that later today, Sunday. I mean, it finishes on Monday morning, I think, so don't leave it too late if you are planning to play it. Definitely get it downloaded, just give it a try. I remember playing the Division 1 beta all those years ago, and I was I was contemplating trying to play the Division 1 before the Division 2 came out, but obviously that never happened. So I mean, I'm going to try the beta. I will probably try and post some videos to my players channel. I might post 1 or 2 to this channel, I'll wait and see, but if not, I'll link it accordingly to my players channel. And yeah, I'll give you my opinions and I'll play it a little bit and I'll just see what I think. But I sort of enjoyed the first beta. I just didn't enjoy it enough to buy the game, and mainly because I couldn't find people to play with, or I didn't try hard enough to find people to play with. So I don't know, maybe the Division 2 will sway me, but the whole DLC model kind of threw me off a little bit, and that's why I didn't get the first one, but we'll see if they do anything different with the second one. Okay, I think that's all the other miscellaneous stuff, so I will move on to talking about my US story now. In the previous video, I talked about how I went on my first ever cruise, and in today's video, we're going to continue that story. So I gave you a brief overview in the previous video of what the ship was like and what was on the ship and what was available and what people would do. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about some other stuff that I missed out. So anyway, let's get started. Right, so I didn't actually talk about the scale of the ship. Now, this is my first ever cruise ship, and I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I've been on ferries and stuff before. They were pretty big, but this cruise ship was big. Like, the biggest ship I've ever been on in my life. And there was just so many floors and just so many corridors and stairways. And after a while, you sort of got used to it because the layout was pretty similar from floor to floor, but you just had to sort of know where you were. Fortunately, there were maps dotted everywhere, so you could find yourself quite easily. And one of the first things they did when they got you on the ship was to put you through like a a safety course, not a safety course, but like they just told you like this is the noise the alarm makes. If this you hear this, something's happening, deal with it. And they just ran through like the procedure for going to a life raft or something if something was to happen. And every floor and every sort of set of corridors had their own assignment to a life raft, so you had to sort of make your way to a certain point if there was an emergency. Thankfully nothing happened, but it's kind of weird going through this sort of stuff because on a plane they just say, look, here's the exits, if anything happens go there, and you know, blah blah blah. But on here there's like a set pattern you sort of have to, not really have to follow. I mean, I assume they would not let you onto a lifeboat if the ship was proper sinking and you couldn't make it to your own, but they sort of said that the best way to deal with it is to go to your one to avoid any sort of confusion and overflow and all the rest. So which I thought was interesting because obviously I'd never experienced that before, but as I said, fortunately nothing happened, it was just a short trip. So last week I didn't actually say, you know, I didn't talk about how we boarded the ship and stuff. So there's like a port, right? It's an actual port, so you have to do, because we were planning to go to a different country, we were going to go like international waters. It wasn't something I really thought about, but it makes sense, right? It's basically like being at an airport because you're about to travel, you know, to a different country or whatever. So you need your tickets, you need your passport, that sort of stuff. So it's basically like being at an airport, but for ships. So it's just a normal port, basically, instead of an airport. So we checked in and all the rest of it, and we had to walk to the ship, which is kind of far from where the check-in place was. A really long walk, and obviously the ship's quite high up. So even though they've built like rampways, you got to walk up the rampways and you got to cross into the ship. And it wasn't until I started crossing that walkway that I realised the scale of the ship, and it was just really big. And again, I got some pictures. I don't know if and when I'm going to post them, but I do have some pictures. The cruise ship that you actually see in the thumbnail is the boat that we went on. I just took a picture off Google. I didn't take it myself or anything, but I just got a picture offline. That is the boat that we went on. Okay, so we checked in, we walked to the ship, a long ass walk, dragging our luggage by the way, and we found our cabins. And the cabins that we had were sort of mid-tier, which apparently is quite good. I don't know, I've never been on a cruise before, but the windows are quite big as well. And again, the bigger the window, apparently that's an indication of the more expensive the cabin. And the windows that we had were like 2 double windows instead of like a little porthole thing. So mid-tier, big window-ish, which means that's why the cabin cost as much as it did. As I said, I've never been on a cruise before, so I don't know how much these things normally cost, but $300 to $400 per person is, in my opinion, not massively cheap. I mean, I guess if you really enjoy cruises and you really enjoy eating food, as I said in last week's video, plenty of food stands in the buffet area. I didn't talk about all of them, by the way. So I talked about pizza, I talked about burger, but there were things like hot dog stand. You could have like grilled sandwiches, like custom made. There was like a pastry stand. There was a cake stand. Other sorts of desserts as well. So there was like a sort of a fruit stand as well. And all this you could eat as much as you want. All you can eat. No limit whatsoever. And in addition to these like mini stands, there were like the bigger places where there were people actually cutting stuff for you. So you'd wait in a line, you put your plate there, and they'd cut you some beef or some pork, some chicken or whatever. And this sort of rotated every few like sittings, so it wasn't the same meat all the time. They just bring out something new. So there was so much food to eat, so much food to eat, and it's a shame that I really didn't make the most of it because I said I'm not a huge eater. Like my appetite is not very big. I eat because I enjoy food, but not because I want to stuff myself stupid, which some people did, trust me. And in terms of the drink, there was tea and coffee as much as you wanted, hot chocolate as much as you wanted, a bit too sweet for my liking, but as much as you wanted. In terms of juices, there was lemon juice, which was on tap. But if you wanted other juices like orange juice, for example, if you wanted alcohol or anything like that, that was all extra, so you'd pay for that. So after we boarded the ship and put our stuff into our cabin, we all went to the buffet area and we just ate, had a really nice big lunch. And then a few short hours later, I didn't realize, but there was an actual sit-down dinner. So they gave you a time, a restaurant, and a table, and you just go to that place every time, every day that you're on the ship, and you'd eat a sit-down dinner. And it's just like being in a restaurant, so they bring you a menu, you pick what you want. The only difference being, obviously it's all paid for, you pick a dish, you pick a starter, you pick a dessert, and they'll just bring it to you, and it's already been paid for, and you just eat it. And that, again, that food was really good, and I didn't expect this. I thought we'd just eat at the buffet all the time, but no. So you eat at the buffet for maybe breakfast, lunch, afternoon snack or whatever, but then you actually go for a sit-down dinner sort of in the evening, like 7, 8 I think our table was booked for. And it was just nice. It was really nice, and you always had the like, same waiter, waitresses, and you just got to know them and have a little bit of chat every now and then. And they were just really friendly. The staff in general really friendly. Like obviously they have to be when they work in hospitality, but they were friendly, really nice, and some of them have been working there for a while. And it was just a cool experience. I'd say I've never done any of this stuff before, so it's just all new to me. So the very first night, obviously having had a big lunch already, we still went to dinner because obviously we'd paid for it. And I think I ordered like a steak or something, and I chose to have it medium rare, which in hindsight is never a good idea because the problem is you don't know what one person's medium rare is compared to another person's medium rare. Now, my medium rare is a tinge of pink, but someone else is medium rare, and in the case of the chef that cooked my steak, was pretty much my rare. The center bit was almost bloody. Like the outside bits were fine, but the inside center bit was almost bloody. I mean, otherwise it was a really nice steak. It was steak, jack potato, really nice, but it was undercooked for what I would call it a medium rare. So in hindsight, I probably should have gone for medium well done or something. But otherwise, a really nice dinner, and then I had like a tropical fruit plate for dinner, which was just bits and bobs of fruits. It wasn't massively tropical, but it was still nice, and I was stuffed. Anyway, so by this point, the ship's engines had kicked in, and they'd started obviously going out the port and out into the ocean, and I could just suddenly feel it. My stomach was feeling a bit, yeah, it wasn't sitting well, and I was stuffed, by the way, so that wasn't helping the situation either. Obviously, as a family, as a group, we're just sitting at the table having dinner, and I turned to my mum, I was like, "Mum, I don't feel right. I'm gonna have to go to the toilet." And so I made my way to the nearest toilet possible, and I'm going to spare you the details because I don't think you need to know exactly what happened next, but let's just say I made it to the toilet just in time, and let's just say the contents of my stomach did not stay in my stomach for very long. So despite the food being really nice, I didn't get to enjoy it for much longer than post the ship started moving. So unfortunately, yes, I do suffer from travel sickness. I suffer stupidly from seasickness. I just can't deal with it apparently, and so I'll talk about it more in next week's video now because we have run out of time. So yeah, I'm going to have to talk about this story more in next week's video. There will be at least 2 more parts, I think, because at the rate that I'm telling this story, we're not getting very far each week. So I think at least 2 more videos. But hope you enjoyed the story nonetheless. It's a story that I'm enjoying retelling. It's just bringing back nice memories. And if you've never been on a cruise before, as I said, I didn't know any of this stuff before I went on a cruise. So it's just nice to talk about it to people. So hopefully you enjoyed the story. If you did enjoy the video, do consider tapping the like button. I really do appreciate it. And as always, if you've got any thoughts to share me regarding anything I've talked about today, anything you've seen in the gameplay, do let me know in the comment section below. I'll be interested to hear. But until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, take care, and I will see you later.